so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Let's get right into talking about the Indianapolis Colts, what they will be facing this week against the Los Angeles Rams. And also we'll talk a little bit about what's come out recently is the Indiana Hoosiers basketball schedule. We're just going to briefly look at the non-conference schedule and go over some of the games, some of the big games that will be coming up, because this is the most talented, on paper, the most talented Indiana Hoosiers basketball team that we've ever had. And I know a lot of people out there will argue with that, but 3 McDonald's All-American players on this team never happened before in Indiana Hoosier basketball history. So let's get right into it. But first, let's thank our friends. An American company, Reynolds Wrap, is an American company that's making a product that makes your life 10 times better. Whether you're cooking in the oven, on the stovetop, on the grill, covering plates, or whatever it may be, use Reynolds Wrap to make your cleanup a cinch. Just wad it up, throw it in the trash can, cover your grill with it, wrap your vegetables in it, put it on your grill, wrap your oven, wrap your casseroles in it, cover it with Reynolds Wrap. That way it won't splatter all over your oven. Keep everything clean. Keep everything nice, neat, and orderly with Reynolds Wrap. And also, I hope you enjoy this fall, autumn scene behind me. I just figured I would throw that in. I'm still trying to figure out ways to build a studio and make it work for what I'm doing here. Because, hey, I am a mattress salesman. I am not a full-time sportscaster, so I'm just doing this from my house. I'm just trying to find a easy way for this to work for me and my family. So I got the screen going here. I'm going to be using that more and more in episodes coming up. But let's get right into talking about the Los Angeles Rams. And I was just listening to the Rams podcast on my way home from work, and pretty much what they were saying is what we all saw in the Monday night game. The Rams could not run the ball at all. So the Colts, they're going to have to shut down their running game and make Matthew Stafford sit back in the pocket and throw the ball. That's where the Colts on defense are going to have the most success against this team. If they can't run the ball, Matthew Stafford has always been a quarterback. Since he's went to the Rams, he has more interceptions thrown than any other quarterback in the league. That being said, if we can stop the run and make him drop back in the pocket and allow, this might be a time where Kwity Paye and some other guys up front get their sacks in, the Colts can force this guy into making some really bad decisions. And maybe Shaq Leonard can get an interception as well, drive his confidence up. But that's going to be the game this Sunday against the Rams. It's just a point I really wanted to touch on. Not only the Rams couldn't run the ball, they've also have some injuries on their offensive line. Their offensive line against Hendrickson, who plays off the left end for Cincinnati, they had an absolutely awful time trying to block anybody for Cincinnati. Matthew Stafford was just a sitting duck out there, play after play after play, and the Rams could not run the ball at all. They don't have any really dangerous running backs. They don't really have a dangerous offense. The biggest thing in this game is, will the Colts be able to run the ball against Aaron Donald and their defense and be able to get some time for Anthony Richardson to push the ball down the field? I'm going to say yes on this. This is a game, I almost feel like it's a trap game for the Colts because they're coming off such a big emotional victory from that Ravens game. Don't let it be a trap game. The Rams may have been overrated going into the Cincinnati game, and you can kind of see now where they really sit, is they looked all kinds of out of sorts against Cincinnati, and they couldn't get any pass rush on Joe Burrow. I mean, not too much at all. I mean, he was getting rid of the ball quick, but that's what the Colts are going to have to do in this game too. Get rid of the ball quick, wear out that pass rush of the Rams with short passing, first downs and running plays that are going to wear out that defensive line for the Rams. But they don't have any really crazy great pass rushers on the Rams or anybody on their defense that's really like scaring me that much except for Aaron Donald. He is a beast up the middle, can be hard to run up the middle on the Rams because of those reasons. But I'm just going by some of the stuff I saw in the Monday night game and then what they were talking about on that Rams podcast, what they were most disappointed by. They were saying they were most disappointed by the play calling by Sean McVay in the game, that they didn't run the ball at all against Cincinnati. And maybe they just couldn't run the ball. And if they have offensive linemen that are down hurt and they can't run the ball, could be a really long day for the Rams against the Colts, dropping back where you can just tee off on this guy over and over and over again and hope he doesn't get hurt. He is getting up there. He is past the age of 35, so he's one of those quarterbacks that's up there that, you know, you need to protect if you want him to be effective. Also, Matthew Stafford's always been known as a gunslinger. I mean, just because he won the one Super Bowl there, he's always been known for throwing a lot of interceptions, and that's always been kind of a part of his game. And he's got a good arm. He's been a great quarterback for a lot of years, but he's always been known to throw some interceptions. So we have that to look forward to in the Colts game. Just a little different perspective I saw today. Let's talk about the Indiana Hoosiers, what their, let me pull it up on my computer here. So Indiana has their first game is on November 7th against Florida Gulf Coast. They play Army West Point on November 12th. They play Wright State. They play UConn. UConn was really good last year. I don't know a lot about UConn. I got to do more research on them. I don't know how many guys graduated from that team. I saw that on there that's a November 19th game at 1 o'clock. I don't know if that's a Saturday. That's probably a Saturday or Sunday game. But UConn, that could be an early test for the Hoosiers. Harvard on November 26th. This is one Harvard played. I think it was Harvard last year. Or no, it was Princeton last year. But Indiana was recruiting a guy from Harvard. That's why I knew them, and they didn't get that guy. He went somewhere else. But sometimes Harvard can be a team you don't want to look past. Might be a little bit more difficult. Then they start out in December. They start out the Big Ten schedule. They play Maryland on December 1st. They play Michigan on December 5th. Then they play at Auburn. That's one of the big games in the non-conference. Now, Auburn has had some decent teams. I mean, they've had decent teams. That's not going to be just a throwaway game. And they play Kansas on December 16th. That's going to be the big one. With all these new guys, that's going to be a big game. That's going to be played at Assembly Hall because last year Indiana went to the Fog and got absolutely destroyed by Kansas there. We got laughed out of the gym. We want revenge with these new guys this year. They should be like, I know you weren't on that team, but you should be watching that film and like, let's not get freaking stomped by Kansas this year. And then we got Morehead State, December 19th, North Alabama, easy game, Kennesaw State, and then January 3rd opens up the Big Ten season. Then you go right into the Big Ten season. So you got a couple of interesting games in the non-conference. This is coming quick. October is just in a few days, and in a matter of the Hoosiers are going to be back out there playing basketball on November 7th. So we have got about 5-6 weeks here, and the Hoosiers will be back out there playing basketball. It's unbelievable how fast time goes by, and I couldn't be more excited for it. I'm so excited that Mike Woodson's getting some really great players, bringing in some of the best recruits Indiana's ever seen. So I'm really going to be looking forward to that this year. But right now we're focused on the Colts, Rams this Sunday. Can't wait for that game. Just I'll give you a little bit more about the game and everything coming up tomorrow on the show. But for today, I wanted to just go over the Indiana basketball schedule a little bit and then talk a little bit about some of the things the Rams were doing in that Monday night game and just why the Colts, I think the Colts, and I just knock on wood here, but I think the Colts have the number of the Rams. And some of the guys are still on the team when the Rams beat the Colts at home. I believe that was at home like 2 years ago with Carson Wentz. I don't know if that was the game where he like broke both of his ankles or hurt both of his ankles. But that was a game where the Colts had that game in the bag many times and just couldn't pull it out. So hopefully that sticks in the craw of some of these guys that were on that team, like Franklin, who wasn't starting at that time on defense, and like Quentin Nelson, and exact some revenge on this Rams team that beat the Colts a couple of years ago. And hey, it's a good week to do it because the Rams, they definitely have a little bit of extra travel playing on Monday night. It's always a hard playing on Monday night than playing a Sunday 1 o'clock game. But we will talk about that more tomorrow on the show. And until tomorrow, stay classy out there, Colts fans.